We welcome you to join us for another edition of the program Evidence on Canada English. It took practically 237 days for the case of Ayuk Tabe Julius Siseko and other leaders of the Ambazonian Republic to get them from the High Court in Yaoundé. The leaders were taken from Abuja, Nigeria to Yaoundé, Cameroon. That was in January 2018. Many expected to see the detainees appear in court on the 30th of August when the case went to the Mfundi High Court for the very first time. But ironically, the detainees were not present in court as demanded by lawyers that are defending them. This is Evidence on Canada English. Stay with us for the next 30 minutes. We shall be discussing more concerning the trial of Ayuk Tabe Julius and others. Thank you for staying with us. Our guest for this day is Barrister Fu Jonso. He is a barrister at law in Cameroon. He is the lead counsel defending Ayuk Tabe Julius Siseko and other interim leaders of the Ambazonian Republic. Good day, sir. Thank you for coming.
Good day, Dominic. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. We are happy to have you today after the first court case at the Mfundi High Court concerning Ayuk Tabe Julius Siseko and others that were taken from Abuja, Nigeria to Yaoundé, Cameroon. Many people expected to see the detainees in court on the 30th of August. What happened that they were not in court, Barrister?
We were expecting to meet the leaders in court because that's what habeas corpus is all about. Habeas corpus is a procedure that is only heard in the High Court. It's a prerogative of the High Court, of the place of detention or the place of arrest. So since they were not detained in the Yaoundé, the Mfundi High Court was the appropriate jurisdiction to file that matter. We filed a habeas corpus motion to have them released because they have been detained illegally. And we were expecting to meet the leaders in court. For some unexplained reason, the leaders were not there. And that is a flaw to that procedure. When they say habeas corpus, that is the corpus delicti must be before the judge. What does that mean? It means that the person concerned, the person who is being detained illegally, must be before the judge. And we as defense lawyers, if our clients are not before the judge, we are not allowed to talk. So that's what happened. They were not there.
Given that the detainees were not present in court, but the court case went on, the demand you made for the detainees to appear in court was thrown out. What next are we expecting as far as the case is concerned?
Well, they were thrown out. The judge did not even bother to give us an opportunity to adopt and rely on the writ that we filed. Instead, she gave and expound on it. Instead, she gave an opportunity, the first opportunity to the prosecution. That's when we objected and raised an objection that we cannot open this file when the detainees are not in court. So we are asking for an adjournment. And the judge dismissed us and continued to hear the prosecution. And on the basis of that, she ruled against us. We are now on appeal.
You have appealed the case, meaning it will be getting to another court apart from the Mfundi High Court?
Yeah, it's in the Court of Appeal of the Central Province.
So when are we expecting the case to get to court next? The first audience?
The law says we file an appeal within 5 days. And the law says the Court of Appeal must hear within 10 days. So we filed on Tuesday. What's today? Thursday. Yeah. We filed on Tuesday. We're expecting that by sometime next week there will be a hearing.
Barrister Fu Jonso, the case to defend Ayuk Tabe Julius and others, interim leaders of the Ambazonian Republic, is quite a delicate one that have attracted the world attention, most especially lawyers that are defending Ayuk Tabe Julius. Is there any special concern? Is there any special treatment you are receiving from authorities in Cameroon?
No, except that they make sure that they don't allow us access to our clients. Each time we go to set, they turn us away. We have been to Commissaire de Gouvernement. We have been to the colonel who is in charge of SED. They all dismissed us and said the government has chosen 3 lawyers. Why would the government choose lawyers for the defense? That's a big question. We're in Cameroon.
Now, Barrister, what people that are watching now, what they would like to know is lawyers defending Ayuk Tabe Julius are not, and others are not permitted to see them and talk to them?
No, the 3 that government chose are the ones working with them. So they see them regularly.
Who are these 3 lawyers?
I don't want to call their names, but there are 3 of them.
The detainees, Ayuk Tabe and others, do they accept these lawyers to represent them in court?
That is the issue. They have, when they finally discovered the game that was going on, they revolted. They don't want them to defend them or to come near them or to assist them in any way. They want their lawyers. That is my team and others. We're not the only. When this case opens in the military tribunal, we will have about 35 lawyers. 15 from the northwest, 15 from the southwest, 2 from Douala and 3 from Yaoundé. That is the composition that is going to be when the case goes to the military tribunal. For now, for this procedure of habeas corpus, we are now 3 of us, because our colleague was attacked in Boya and we don't know his whereabouts. So we're now 3 of us, and we'll continue in the Court of Appeal. And after that, we would have done our job. We are not naive to think that the courts in Cameroon will rule releasing our people. No. We are laying a foundation for international fora.
You are talking about international fora. Many Cameroonians, they have looked at the international community at that which is not always there to respond when the people call. Do you think the international fora, international community, international courts is going to do something concrete as far as the case of their clients?
That's a wrong perception. The international community does not respond as we think. They do respond, but you can never know the response. They are working. It's a wrong conception. Anybody would think that the international community is silent and this and that. But I'm not even looking at the international community. I'm looking at the Human Rights Commission in Geneva, where we'll be filing a civil case, civil claim against the illegal detention of the leaders by the La République du Cameroon. And we're looking at the International Criminal Court. That is not us. Other people are working on that. But as far as this habeas corpus procedure is concerned, we're laying the groundwork for an international forum. That's a requirement of the of that forum to allow us to bring that case before them. We must meet the requirements as the rulings or judgments from the local courts must be available.
Some lawyers have argued that your demand at the Mfundi High Court for the detainees to come to court in person was not valid. Was not supposed to be.
I don't know which lawyer should be arguing that. What is the procedure for habeas corpus means? If you read the law, Article 585 of the Criminal Procedure Code spells out the conditions for that hearing. The first thing is that the accused persons were supposed to be in the court. And generally speaking, in any criminal proceedings, if your client is not in court, you have no right to talk, except to explain why your clients are not in court. That's generally speaking. But in this procedure, the prosecution is required to bring the person before the court.
Many people think that your demand for the detainees to come to court is because they have stayed incommunicado for quite a long time, and they wanted to really see them and know about their health and see if they are still okay.
Anybody is free to to say what he wants to say. I am going by the letter of the law. Simple.
So normally you said you are moving to the, you have appealed the case, which means you equally want them in the next hearing.
Oh yes, they must appear in the Court of Appeal. That is the law. I didn't make the law.
If they still turn down that appeal, what are you going to do, lawyer?
No. If they turn down that appeal, which is what I'm expecting will happen.
You are expecting already?
Well, I'm not that naive. I'm not that naive. Oh, our team is not that naive. But if it happens that they release them, we thank God. But we know the way the system works, we don't see an ordinance of release. So we are saying that we would have finished our mission. The Court of Appeal will hear us and rule, and that is our mission.
Will it not be possible for the court case to go on? You defend the detainees or defend the interim leaders in their absence. That would be a violation of the law.
Not for this procedure.
Okay.
Not for the procedure of habeas corpus. No. No. And how even in the military tribunal, when a case opens in the military tribunal, they must bring them to court. How would you defend an accused person who is not in court? You, the defense counsel, you are not even supposed to talk if your client is not there. That is the law. I didn't make it. I came and met it, and I will go and leave it. That's criminal law, man.
Earlier you mentioned that you lawyers are defending them. You are not permitted to meet them. People are eager to find out about how they feel today, about their health.
I told you last time, and I'm telling you now, we are not medical doctors.
Do you see them?
We have not worked with them. If the government and the military, that's the gendarmerie, allowed us to work with them like the other three, I can, just from assessing somebody's condition, I can tell you how they are. But just imagine if it was you and you're detaining Comunicado for 7 months. All of a sudden they open the door and you come out to sunshine for the first time. How would you look? I don't want to cast aspersions to anybody. I don't even know their condition medically because I'm not a doctor. And even if I was a doctor, I don't have access to them. They have made sure that the real defense team does not have access to them, because they have formed their own defense team of 3 lawyers who betrayed us. I don't want to talk again about them. I've spoken about them on an interview someplace, an interview given to me by Elise Smith, and I don't want to talk about them now, but they know themselves. I have spoken about them and given their names. It's for the public to judge who is who.
Barrister, we know that this is a case of defending people that have been tagged terrorists. Are there any threats against lawyers like you and others that are defending the interim leaders?
Dominic, you should know that since about a year now, nobody has come physically to threaten me. But I had one occasion when I was filling my tank with petrol, and somebody walked to me and said, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, you'll hear from me. I have been followed many times. You know, when you drive, you look at your mirrors up and down, you see, you know who is following you, who continuously is following you, especially at night. Every time I leave I leave town or I leave somewhere at night, I see somebody following me until when I get and turn into my yard, that's when they pass. But nobody has openly, except what is the occasion at the petrol station. Nobody has openly threatened me, and I know that they are tapping my phones. I know that they have taken pictures of my house. I know that they are after me. But you know, if I'm working with my clear conscience, anything that happens, I know who is after me.
Barrister, is true.
And I'm not the only. Let me also tell you that one of us has already been attacked. By whom? We don't know. But one of us has been attacked. That's an indication that our lives are not safe.
If your life is not safe, have you tried to notify those, security officials in charge, the security department of this country?
Who? Me are going to notify the security.
We are talking about the police. We are in the country.
To say that what? To say that what? Please, I'm not that naive. Look, all of us are on this earth as players. Anything happens to me, be it. But I must, unless the family stop me, I must defend these lawyers to the logical end. I'm here. I'm part of the team. We are going to be 35. I told you that. And the four of us are doing this habeas corpus procedure. And after that, we'll wait for them to send them to the military tribunal. Or if they want us to assist them in the interrogation, since they have revolted against the orders, we will gladly go and assist them until interrogation is finished. And if there's going to be a hearing by the juge instruction, we will assist them right up to wherever. But we are going to stay the course.
If you are just tuning in, we are receiving Barrister Fu Johnson. He is the lead counsel defending Ayuk Tabe, Julius Sisiku, and other interim leaders of the Ambazonian Republic that were taken from Abuja, Nigeria, to Yaoundé, Cameroon. That was in January 2018. After the first court case at the Mfundi High Court, we are trying to get an insight from him to know more about what is going to follow next. Barrister, let's find out from you. There have been much talking about All Anglophone General Conference that was being convened by Christian Cardinal Tumi. The intention of the conference is to get to Buea, that will be in the month of November, and they took out issues, bring out representatives that can meet the government of Cameroon and negotiate about ending the Anglophone crisis. With the interim leaders in detention, what is your take on the Anglophone General Conference?
You want my opinion? I would say that it's a ploy by Dr. Simon Munzo, because everybody in this country knows that he's a federalist. Well, I'm not saying that federalists are excluded from anything, but when you take a position, you want to hold a conference with that in mind, you went and convince the church people with that in mind, and you stay behind and you set up church people to select those who will go. Wait until there is going to be negotiations. I'm not talking about dialogue. I've never spoken about dialogue. I'm talking about negotiations. After every war, you sit on the table and negotiate. And it's not for Cardinal Tumi and his team to determine who goes for negotiation, who does not. Look, let me tell you, Dominic, Cameroonians like to live in limbo. The people who control the fighters on the ground, who are now fighting the war, are controlled by the Ambazonian Republic, the interim government, and other frontline leaders. If you want to go and form an all-Anglophone conference, which we know, you invite the governor of the Northwest, the governor of the Southwest, we know already the modus operandi. This is my opinion.
Yeah, that's your opinion. You just mentioned something
that conference is dead on arrival.
You just mentioned something about Dr. Simon Munzo trying to convince, but I think many people have welcomed the initiative of Christian Cardinal Tumi to bring about lasting peace in Cameroon.
Will that bring lasting peace? Will that bring lasting peace? Will that stop the fighting? Where was Cardinal Tumi in 2016, 2017? Where was he? He was here. I am not questioning the man of God. I know him for being a pious man. And I know that somebody must have convinced him to be doing what he's doing. He can go and hold his conference. That doesn't concern most of us. They can hold their conference, they can have their federalist agenda. It doesn't concern us. I'm not saying that the federalist agenda is wrong. I'm saying that at the negotiating table, everybody will bring that point of view. But if you want to think that you hold an all Anglophone General Conference, Dr. Monzo is one of the person I respect, because when I was in Cameroon Anglophone movement, we organized the All Anglophone Conference 1 in Boya. 1993. And we convinced Monzo, Anyangwe, and Ekontang Elat to be the conveners. And they did a marvelous job. When they presented the federal constitution to the Owona Commission, Owona put it in the dustbin. We went to AAC number 2 in Bamenda, and Dr. Monzo is the one who read the Bamenda proclamation that after a reasonable time, if that federal constitution is not taken into consideration, we will take the necessary steps to restore the independence of the Southern Cameroon. Let me finish.
Yes.
Where is Dr. Monzo with that proclamation that he read and crying? Why today is he a federalist? Why today is he hook-winging Karnatumi and my synod clerk of my church? If I saw the synod clerk, I would have asked him whether that is the path he wants to take our church down to. Why would he want to use them for his federalist agenda? Because everybody knows Dr. Monzo now during this fight.
Barrister, you talk about the proclamation that Dr. Monzo read in Bamenda. He talked about reasonable time. Don't you think that it was extremely vague? Reasonable time is no time.
Oh, reasonable time can be interpreted either way. You can call it vague.
It can be 100 years.
Look, we didn't want to start a war. The war was started on all by Mr. Biya, and that is a reasonable time. If we, my dear colleague Abubala and the others were arrested because of the federal system that they were propagating. That is long after the AAC2. They arrested them and locked them up. They arrested almost, I cannot begin to tell you how many people were arrested. So what is left for us? Then when our boys went on the street, our citizens went on the street on the 22nd of September and 1st of October, this government killed them. Killed 122. When do you think reasonable time is? From 1994 to today. We have been patient, we have been waiting and trying to see if this government will come to its senses and even accept that federal agenda. Lawyers brought it up in 2016. They were all beaten up. My learned friend Agobala was arrested along with the university professor and others and locked in Kondenge. Today, and he made a statement, and I like to quote him, that today we're asking for a federation and you are looking the other way. There will come a time that you will not be able to get a federation out of us. Agubala is still alive.
Barrister, it's true that the court case of Ayuk Tabejilos and others is on. What do you think should be done on the field right now for the situation to be resolved?
What is it to be done? There's the war going on. If Mr. Biya was minded about peace, he would have called a ceasefire, because he declared the war, would have called a ceasefire, withdraw the troops, and come to the table of negotiation and talk to us. Talk to English-speaking people. When I say us, I mean all of us English-speaking people. We all have shares of opinion. And we sit on the table and we talk. You are not going to tell me that after Karnatumi and Munzo and others hold their conference in Boya and select the people who will talk, those are going to be the people who will talk and to the exclusion of others. Does Munzo not know that there are people who have run out of this country and they are being chased by this government? that this government had issued warrant of arrest on a lot of people, and that there are people living abroad and who are fighting for this cause, who are not wanted in this country. They will either shoot them or arrest them. When they ask the precondition, has the government given them the precondition?
Now, Barrister, let's talk about school resumption.
Yes.
This week, school started.
Yes.
In Cameroon, in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, we watch scanty schools that remains empty, fear of insecurity. Many parents have not been able to send their kids to school. What's your take on that?
My take is that, and my take is the same like that of the Amazonian interim government. The question of going to school belongs to the parents. And if the parents feel that the environment is secure enough to send their children to school, let them send their children to school. But if I were a parent in a war zone where there are stray bullets all over the place, I would not send any child to school. The insecurity situation in the northwest and southwest does not permit schooling. If this government really wanted children to go to school, they would have called for a ceasefire. A ceasefire means nobody shoots. And children will go to school. But now, look at, in Bamenda the other day, there were bullets all over the place. How did you expect a child to walk to school under those conditions? How? Unless you want to lose your child, I don't think, to choose between school and the life of my child, I will choose the life of my child.
So, what's your call now to the president?
I have made that call several times. I'm not going to spend my life making calls to him. In fact, he has no solution to this problem. My only prayer is that a new president is elected that we can negotiate with. You
talk about a new president, and we have elections at the corner. Do you think it will be possible for the elections to take place in the northwest and southwest? Well, have been devastated.
Well, the Catholic Church, which is the biggest Christian church in this country, came out with a pastoral letter. They didn't say, and they didn't call anybody's name, but if you read it carefully, you will see that the Christians of this country have vomited Mr. Biya. But if they decide to go and vote and Mr. Biya again, well, that is their cup of tea. But as far as I know, Mr. Biya has no solution to the Anglophone war or that he created. He has no solution. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Many people have been thinking that the situation presently in the northwest and southwest, we are entering the third year without school. It gives the impression that a good number of people, young people, will be very literate in the northwest and southwest of Cameroon at the end of everything that is happening today.
40. Ghana went through a turbulent period and they had no schooling for 3 years or more. And go and see the system, the educational system in Ghana. Ghana has the highest literacy rate than us. So let's stop beating about the bush. If my children go to primary school at 10, what's the problem? You take a 2-year-old and go with it, and it's caught by a bullet. You lost your child. We are in a war situation. It is not our making. Anybody who thinks that it is okay to send the child to school, send the child to school, but take the necessary measures for that child's security. Because neither the Amber boys who are fighting or the army can take care of your children. So anybody who wants to walk a child to school and walk the child back, you can do that.
We're a few minutes to the end of this program. Just to find out from you, in Bamenda recently we had a case where the Bamenda main market was shut down by authorities to punish traders for respecting Ghost Town every Monday. These traders have complained that on Ghost Town days they don't have customers, and equally their lives and equally their property are in danger. What's your take on administrators that try to punish traders that respect Ghost Towns?
That is the act of a dictatorial regime. I have a business to run. I have a right to shut my shop anytime and open anytime. As long as I pay my taxes, as long as I do what I'm supposed to do. What is your take? Unless you're a dictator, you want to force me to open the market? You want to force me to open my shop? You can only do that in Russia. Huh? In dictatorial regimes, you can do that around the world if you care. In those dictatorial regimes, Uganda, Cameroon, and other places. The Congos and so on and so forth, where they are dictators. But in a free society, people are free to open their shops, close their shops, stay open, close at any time that they wish, respecting the laws of the land and doing business. If the law of the land will force me to open my shop or to close my shop, then it's no longer a free society. That's what is happening. We're living in a dictatorial regime, and they can do. What right has an administrator over a businessman who opens his shop or who doesn't open his shop? What right? What right has any mayor to force a businessman to open a shop or close a shop? What right?
Barrister, the last question before we end the interview. What message are you telling Cameroonians as far as the case of Ayuk Tabe, Julius, and others is concerned?
I have nothing to tell Cameroonians. We're all living the quagmire. We will see to the end of this. You may want to know that there are more than 1,200 English-speaking people in all the prisons around the country, or more, where Ayuk Tabe and his team are part of. We are not only fighting for Ayuk Tabe and his team, we have other 37 people who were also kidnapped from Nigeria, and they are here. After this procedure, we will continue with that, with the 37.
The Post newspaper wrote this week that we have 5 Nigerians that are were equally arrested alongside Ayuk Tabe and others, and equally there is a Nigerian minor under detention. Do you have an idea about that?
I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea. I just want to let you know that those who were taken and brought here are all refugees. That is, they had vomited this place. They ran away from persecution from this place. According to the international law on refugees, which Cameroon ratified in 1961, they are not supposed to be brought back to where they were running from, either death, persecution, and so on. But they are here. Let's see what Cameroon will do to them in violation of international law.
Thank you very much, Barrister Fru Johnson, for coming.
Thank you very much.
We thank you, our listeners, for watching us. We receive Barrister Fru Johnson. He is the lead counsel defending Ayuk Tabe, Julius Sisiko, and other leaders that were taken from Abuja, Nigeria, to Cameroon. The case first appeared, went to court. That was on the 30th of August at the Mfundi High Court. The lawyers appealed, and they were expecting the court case to continue. We shall keep you informed as it develops. I am DOMINIC NWAKIMO. We're thanking you for watching.